Hey friends, it's Jessica from Three Rivers Homestead. Today we needed to make some cashew milk, and I thought I would show you the process I use for doing that. I use a lot of the dried goods from my pantry to make various types of milk. We're a dairy-free house. My oldest son has an anaphylactic dairy allergy, so if we need to substitute for milk in certain recipes, we use various types of nut milks, or rice milk, or even an oat milk. And depending on what we want the milk to be doing in the recipe, that's how I'll decide which milks I'm going to use. You know, a thicker milk, you might want to use something like a cashew. If it's thinner, you can use a rice milk. But what I do in order to make milk is I use a Soyabella nut milk making machine. Now, this machine cost me about $100, so there is an upfront cost to this, but I've calculated that just with cashew milk alone, just making 12 batches the way I do it ends up paying for the cost of the machine. So I've already paid for this machine many times over the year that I've been using it, because I've calculated that I generally do 2 batches of cashew milk at a time, and that gives me 3 quarts of milk. And I pay a little over $2 with the cost of my organic cashews. It's about $2.12 for a 3-quart batch. Now, if you were to buy cashew milk, even non-organic cashew milk, at the store or online, the shelf-stable ones that maybe you'd order from Amazon in the little cartons, those cost, I'm trying to remember, I think they're $3.50 for a quart. And so if you calculate that, you're over $10 for a 3-quart batch versus my $2.12. So I'm saving over $8 for every batch that I make of this. That's amazing. And so this is, I'm not one for trinkets and machines and having a lot of appliances in my kitchen because we don't have a lot of space. But for the amount of milk alternatives that I have to make, this was an investment that was worth it because it's paid for itself very quickly. And then also, it saves a lot of mess. I don't know if you've ever made nut milk or rice milk without a machine. You're boiling water, you're using a nut milk bag, you're having to strain it. It creates a lot of dishes, whereas with this machine, this is all I have to clean up when I'm done. So let me show you the process. Today I'm making cashew milk. It's probably my favorite milk to make because it's really thick and creamy and just has a great flavor. It's perfect for smoothies and baking. Although I do also like to make almond milk, because when I make almond milk, after I'm done making the milk, I have a pulp of almonds left over that I can use to make things like energy bites and cupcakes and things even. But with cashew milk, that doesn't happen. The cashews end up blended and I don't have that extra pulp left over. But as far as flavor and texture, cashew is definitely my favorite. So what I do, I'm just going to do 1 batch, which in this machine makes me about 1.5 quarts. I take about a cup of cashews and I soak them overnight. Soaking them, obviously all nuts should be soaked for optimal digestion and nutrient absorption, but this also softens the nuts and makes the process easier for making the milk. And so I'll soak these overnight, and then I take the little basket that comes in my machine and I'm going to strain these out really quick. The machine comes with this handy little plastic holder that holds your little, whatever this is called, the little mesh thing in place. And so these have been rinsed, these nuts, and they're just going to sit there. And now I'm just going to fill my pot here with water. This is essentially like a water kettle, an electric water kettle that will heat the water up and saves you having to boil the water on the stove. And then this part of the machine is essentially just like a little blender that will mix the nuts up and heat it, and that will create your milk. So I'm going to fill this with so this is full of water now, and all I have to do to make my milk is just attach this little mesh basket to the blending portion, stick that into the water portion, and just plug it in. And I hit a button. And the machine is going to make the milk for me. It takes a little over 20 minutes for it to finish, and so while that is brewing it, I'm going to work on cleaning the kitchen. cleaning my kitchen, and in the time it took me to do that, I now have a fresh batch of nut milk all finished that just beeped. So all I do is unplug it and then remove the top here. And I just kind of make sure that all of the liquid is drained out of the little mesh basket that's inside of the machine. Set it in the handy plastic holder here, and that'll just hold that. And then I use a strainer here to filter out my milk. Every once in a while there can be kind of chunks of pulp in there, and the strainer helps filter that. And then, as I mentioned, I get about 1.5 quarts of milk out of the one batch. And then when I'm done here, all I have to do is clean the inside of this, the little mesh basket, the top of this, all of this, and I'm all done. Kitchen is freed up of a lot of clutter and mess, and it's really that easy. So here is a batch that I made a couple days ago. We typically make our milk every 2 or 3 days just so we continually have a batch in the fridge. There is a shelf life on this milk. Once you make it, you want to use it within probably 5 to 7 days. It will go bad. So we just do small batches pretty frequently, and it tastes amazing. Cashew milk is really thick and just a wonderful flavor. This is unsweetened, but if you wanted to sweeten it, you could add maple syrup or honey or even sugar, I guess, into the carafe here as you're brewing it. You could also add vanilla. A lot of people like a vanilla nut milk, but it tastes great. And what I love about this is it's a much more eco-friendly option for nut milks. Most of the nut milk you find in the store come in plastic containers, or they come in those cardboard carton type things that really aren't recyclable. And so for everything I'm doing here with my family, my goals are to create the healthiest food that I can for my family, but to also do it with the least financial cost and with the least environmental burden. And so this is just a great way to create a nut milk without costing a fortune and without creating a bunch of waste. So I'm not being paid by Soyabella at all to do this. I just wanted to share with you what has saved me a lot of time and energy, because we go through quite a bit of this type of milk, and this was a lifesaver for me. Before I had this, I had to brew it on the stove, and I just found that I wasn't wanting to do it as often because it was much more work. And I'm a busy mom. This is a tool that is really helpful. So I hope that this has blessed you in some way, and if you're a dairy-free family, I would really encourage you to look into buying one of these. But that's it for now. I hope you all have a blessed day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.